Let's get started this morning with our candidates for coroner. Would Annette Cannon and Thomas Weldon please join me on the stage? We'll go in alphabetical order, so Annette will lead with her 3-minute opening remarks.
Good morning. I'd like to thank the Arvada Chamber of Commerce and the Arvada Center for hosting today's forum and breakfast. My name's Annette Cannon, and I'm running for the coroner position. The coroner office signs death certificates, investigates any unexplained or suspicious deaths, and for any of those that aren't attended by a physician at the time of death. Also, the coroner's office is required to investigate deaths from accidents, such as violence and other circumstances, such as suicides or homicides. I've been a registered nurse for over 35 years, and I have been in many leadership roles. I've worked as a psychiatric nurse, a medical surgical nurse for many years, along with working in long-term care with the elderly and working in hospice. I have provided postmortem care when I worked at the VA. I've also worked in the county jail as a forensics nurse, and I have my own healthcare business here in Arvada for the last 14 years. Having been an advocate for the sick and dying patient my entire career, I think it's only natural that I continue to be a strong voice and advocate for the decedents and their families. I will provide empathy, compassion, and education to those in their time of need. So, thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Tom Weldon, and I'm running to serve as your next Jefferson County Coroner. As Annette said, the coroner's role is we determine the manner and cause of death for anybody who dies within our jurisdiction. We always need to do that job with compassion and with dignity. It needs to be done in a timely manner. It needs to be done in an accurate manner, because the decisions we make have an impact on estate settlements. It can have an impact on insurance payouts. It can make the difference of whether or not we can prosecute criminally, as well as it has statistics that are important to the public health. As your coroner, you're going to be required to deputize deputy coroners to work on your behalf. You authorize them all of the authority of the office. That's a pretty big authorization, so you have to know what this job is about if you're going to go ahead and give others that authorization to work for you. I'm going to be required to deputize over 10 investigators in my office. I'll be required to oversee our administrative staff, our autopsy techs, and 3 board-certified forensic pathologists who do our autopsies, all while maintaining a $2.1 million budget in the 3rd busiest coroner's office in the state. Jeffco handles about 13 cases a day. That equates to about 4,700 deaths annually. So experience is important in this office. I'm currently an investigator. I've investigated over 3,800 deaths in Jefferson County since I've worked for you since 2012. I'm certified by the Colorado Coroners Association. I hold diplomate status with the American Board of Medical Legal Death Investigators on a national level. I'm a member of the North Central Regional Mass Fatality Planning Committee, the Suicide Prevention Coalition, as well as the Child Fatality Review Team. I'm also a member of the International Association of Coroners and Medical Examiners, the Society of Medical Legal Death Investigators. I'm on the Coroners Assist Team, as well as COHART, which is the Colorado Human Remains Extraction and Recovery Team. I've been endorsed by our current coroner, John Graham, our district attorney, Pete Weir, our sheriff, Jeff Shrader, Weld County Coroner Carl Blesch, the Fraternal Order of Police Lodges 18 and 21, as well as Mayor Adam Paul in Lakewood. One of my goals when I come to the office is going to be to seek accreditation for the office. There's only about 40 offices in the United States out of about 2,300 coroners and medical examiners' office that have this accreditation. It's a voluntary, independent oversight that we subscribe to the current standards of the industry, and that we meet those standards. And probably by the year 2020, it's going to be required that most offices head in that direction. So I'd like to see Jefferson County be able to get that accreditation, because what it'll also do is allow us to potentially offset some expenditures to the taxpayers. We'll be allowed to obtain grant monies that we aren't allowed to do now as an unaccredited offices. So I'm asking for your support. I'm asking that you elect me as your next coroner. I'm ready to do the job for you. I'm qualified. Thank you for being here this morning.
Each candidate will now have 45 seconds to answer a series of questions, and we'll go with alphabetical order. Ms. Cannon, that leads off with you. I'm sure you've had that your whole life, right?
Yes.
Annette, A, Cannon, C. All right, how would you define the role of coroner? And on some level, since you addressed that during your opening statement, how would you define the role of coroner as you would approach it, maybe differently than what you have seen done around the state?
Well, I believe that the coroner is committed to providing the county residents with the most professional and factual death investigations. You need to adhere to the Colorado state laws, maintain the continued education per the Colorado Coroner Standards and Training Board. The coroner also needs to work very closely with other entities, such as law enforcement or first responders or hospitals. That would ensure that our investigations are credible and factual. The coroner has to be an effective leader by nurturing the strengths and talents of the people on their team and communicating effectively. I believe that communication is a big factor. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
You can move a little bit closer. I know we're trying to logistically work cameras and the room and everything else in, so I don't mind the proximity.
That's good. Fine with it too.
Okay, no worries, no worries. All right, Mr. Weldon, you've outlined the role of coroner as you see it. Talk to me a little bit about your approach to this role and maybe how it differs from maybe others around the state.
So my approach is going to be an engaged coroner. I think in order to supervise people appropriately, I think I need to know what happens in the field. A lot of times you get to a leadership position and you kind of lose touch about what happens at the basic levels. I'm going to be engaged, and I plan to still investigate deaths as well as administrate. I think it's important that I know what my staff is doing out in the field, and I stay engaged with all the entities that we do work closely with, because we work closely with many agencies through every death investigation. We've developed some great relationships in Jefferson County over the past years with all of the partners that we deal with, mainly law enforcement and hospitals, medical community, EMS, fire services, law enforcement, hospice agencies, victim advocates, and funeral directors. So there's many agencies that we have to interact with. I think it's important to keep those relationships built, and a way to do that is to stay active with them.
Well, good. All right, so let's go to the second question, which will stay here, and then switch back over to Ms. Cannon for the third. So tell us about your most relevant job experience that prepared you to serve as coroner for Jefferson County.
So most relevant, less than 6 hours ago, I was actually investigating a death. So I do this job. This is my profession. My former paramedic background has prepared me for this, and I've been working for you for the past almost 7 years. And as I said, I've investigated over 3,800 deaths. So relevance I have, I do this as a profession.
Ms. Cannon, the same question to you.
Okay, well, other than my medical background, I have experience as a director of health information systems, which is basically a medical records department and an auditing department. I managed 23 satellite clinics throughout the city and county of Denver for the chronically mentally ill. That meant not only protecting their records and their privacy, but also going to court and testifying for them, and dealing a lot with law enforcement, as you can imagine, and just protecting the records. So I think that was probably a very relevant job to help me serve in a leadership role.
Ms. Cannon, we'll keep it with you. How have the demands on the coroner's office changed in recent years? Do you believe that the current resources meet the demands of the office?
I believe that the demands of the coroner's office have probably changed in recent years. Of course, one of the first things you think about is an increase in overall deaths in the county. We have seen an increase in our suicides and our opioid deaths throughout the county. And so current resources need to adapt to those growing needs for the county. And that would, we have like the largest segment of aging population in Jefferson County. And so that that population is going to be moving older as we go. And so we want to make sure that our data quality and our infrastructure meets those demands.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
And we'll ask Mr. Cannon the same question. How have the demands of the coroner's office changed in recent years, and do you believe current resources meet the demands of the office?
So as far as our current resources, I think they're capable of meeting demands. We have 10 investigators and 2 additional investigators positions with the chief deputy and a coroner. That's one of the reasons I need to stay engaged, because we don't want to have to ask for more personnel to meet the demands. Again, aging population. Jeffco has the oldest population. We also house the most assisted living facilities and nursing care facilities. So that's going to increase our volume going forward. And of course, the drug problems that we have are taking its toll to an extent of costing us more to the autopsy, which is mandatory by state law when we have a suspected drug overdose. So those things will increase our costs going forward.
Okay. I have a fire round here, and if Cammie's going to let me, I'm going to ask you all of them, and then we'll move the microphone over here rather than switching the microphone back and forth. It'll be a little bit easier. So, Mr. Cannon, we'll begin with Mr. Weldon. Excuse me. Ms. Cannon to my left, Mr. Weldon to my right. Let's clear that up right away. Your favorite place to shop or eat in Arvada?
So Army-Navy surplus, where I shop.
Well, where do you eat then?
I don't eat out much, so
Okay.
I don't have a favorite place.
Okay. Last book that you read?
K9 Rocky.
Okay. What is the most common topic that comes up when you are out campaigning in the community?
The only qualified candidate.
If you could have coffee with someone, dead or alive, who would that be?
That would be my wife, because I haven't seen her in 14 months since I've campaigned. So my wife, Dee Dee, would be the answer.
You'll have a shot in just a minute here. You're almost done. What was your first job?
Refrigeration repair.
Very cool. Okay, thank you so much.
You.
Oh, boy.
Now, Miss Cannon, your favorite place to shop or eat in Arvada?
I like to eat at Kokoro's.
Okay. Last book that you read?
It was a public health nursing textbook.
Riveting. Yeah. Plot twist. What is the most common topic that comes up when you are out campaigning?
I think people's personal stories.
Right. Yeah. And finally, oh, excuse me, 2 more. If you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would that person be?
My parents.
Great. And what was your first job?
A home health caretaker.
Great. We want to thank both of our candidates for coroner. We have 90 seconds each for your closing remarks. And since we opened with your opening remarks, we're going to swivel back in this direction and give Mr. Weldon the opportunity.
All right, again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming and giving us this opportunity. So as I stated, my experience, I think, is the most important thing in this election. I bring to the table an ability to start on my very first day that I'm elected. I'm not going to have to transition. I'm going to be able to jump right in and continue serving the office. And I think that's going to be important going forward, as we talked about resources before. We're certainly going to need my input, both investigatively as well as administratively. And I'm looking forward to serving you as your next coroner. And thanks for having us.
Ms. Cannon, 90 seconds.
Okay. Well, I think I'm the best choice for the Jefferson County Coroner position because I have extensive medical background, education, and experience, along with a proven track record of high-level ethics and professionalism and compassion for others. And I understand the needs of the people that this job serves, and just want to thank you. Appreciate it.
For our candidates for coroner, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The sheriff is running unopposed, so if Sheriff Shrader will join me on stage, you have 3 minutes for your opening remarks, sir. You can use all 3.
They told me I have 5.
Yeah. Oh, how about 5 then?
Yeah, because you don't.
I'll meet you in the middle.
You don't have any questions for me.
I do have some questions for you.
I have answers for those.
Great.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Jeff Shrader. I'm honored to be your Jefferson County Sheriff. I live just south of Westwoods in unincorporated Jefferson County with my wife, Jane. We've been there about 6 years. It was a few years ago my daughter and her son were staying with us. while they were in between houses, sold a house and were waiting for a process to get into the new one. And my young granddaughter at the time, she's about 3 years old, her name is Selah, was staying there. And the first Monday that they were there, I was getting ready for work, and I was coming downstairs, and Selah had just finished her breakfast. And as she rounded the corner, and she was just looking down, paying attention to whatever she was paying attention to or not, I said good morning to her, and she looked up and saw me in my uniform. And it was the first time she had seen my sheriff's uniform. And she said, "Are you going to the circus?" And I was, and I've been going to that circus for 35 years. There are a lot of things that go on in that 3 rings that I go to each day, and a number of challenges. One of the things that I think that we can do to learn what's going on in our communities is to look inside the county jail to see what experiences people are having. In 2015, of the 2,000 people that are booked into the Jefferson County Jail each month, about 100 were placed on opioid withdrawal protocols. In 2017, that figure had risen to 300 of the 2,000, roughly 15%. Earlier this year, in April and May and June, it was 440. About 22% of the people who are booked into the county jail being placed on an opioid withdrawal protocol. That's not the only withdrawal protocol that we use. There's also for alcohol and benzos as well. So it ends up being a very challenged population, but that also provides a lens, a window into what's going on into our communities. As you know, the people from Arvada are very fortunate to have a great police department led by Link Strait, the chief of police, and very hardworking and very challenging circumstances. We're very proud to be able to partner with them on the many things that we do. We learn a lot from one another, and I think we provide great service to each other. But opioids are a significant issue. There are other significant issues that go on in the county jail, and they reflect in our community as well. The things that our police department is facing here, as well as my deputy sheriffs who are on the street. And they kind of intersect sometimes. Homelessness, as well as mental health afflictions. Roughly a third of the people who are in the county jail are afflicted with some sort of mental health issue. And so sometimes the question is, what do you do about that stuff? Well, last year I had hired a professional jail administrator to come in to help focus on what we do in the county jail and face the challenges. And one of the first instructions I gave him, or programs I asked him to look into and set up, was to set up a veterans housing unit in the county jail. We do have a modest veterans population of people who've served us in the military, protected us. And then they've maybe found their way into a little bit of trouble, and sometimes they end up in jail. And it ends up being sometimes that they have special needs. But those 3 things often intersect within that population: homelessness, addictions, and mental health issues. And that's what we aim to provide in that veterans housing unit, is treatment for those things. One of those treatments is moral recognition therapy. You can look that word up in the dictionary, recognition. You won't find it. But it means moral reasoning. That's one of the things. I only have, you said I have 5 minutes.
You have 30 seconds left.
Oh. I better hurry up. We've expanded that program into a behavioral housing unit. We've done those things because I think they're smart. In places where those kinds of programs have been set up, recidivism rates amongst those populations has dropped by about 50%. Now, I don't know if we're necessarily going to see that, but it feels like the right thing to do, to take care of the people who've taken care of us, and then also to face the problems that we have in our society. I'm your sheriff. I'd be honored to have your vote. My mom said she would vote for me, so I should be good, but I'd like to have a few more.
All right, Sheriff, we have some fire round questions, and if time allows, I'd like to ask just one specific question as the son of a police officer, and it's about what we've seen in our society and how you are addressing it in your department. So let's get the fire round questions out of the way first. Favorite place to shop and eat in Arvada?
OMG Donuts on Ralston Road.
Well played, well played. What was the last book that you read?
The 2018 ballot.
We joked it was longer than a CVS receipt. It really has a lot on there. All right, what is the most common topic that comes up when you are out campaigning?
Some of them I just talked about, but actually crime.
Great. And you would think that's what folks would talk to you about. If you could have a cup of coffee with someone dead or alive, who'd that be?
The namesake of our county, Thomas Jefferson.
Okay. And what was your first job?
I was a newspaper delivery boy.
Yeah, you bet.
On a bicycle.
Okay. So let me ask you, what are you doing inside of the department to address what we see locally and much more so nationally, which is a bit of a disrespect towards law enforcement and our institutions in general? Do you feel it in your department? Do you speak with your deputies about it? How do you address it internally?
Well, we address it internally by speaking about it, first of all. But there has been a shift in attitudes. This year in particular has been a pretty tough year for law enforcement, starting off with December 31st, a shooting in Douglas County and a number of deputy sheriffs that have been shot throughout the Front Range. There also seems to be a very strong willingness for people to engage violently police officers. Even last night, as several members of the Arvada Police Department were confronted with that. That obviously has an effect on people. One of the things that we know when we hire deputy sheriffs is that we don't just hire one individual. We end up hiring an entire family. Because the job that they do not only affects them, but it affects everybody that they live with and everybody that they're around. And those people in their circle of influence can have an influence on them in their career. So we attempt to provide ongoing psychological counseling. We provide peer support for our deputy sheriffs, and we just celebrate them when we can.
Absolutely. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I believe we are on to the Assessor's office, yes. And Brian Cassidy, Scot Kersgaard, if you would come up, we'll have Brian provide opening remarks first.
Well, good morning, everyone. I want to thank Cammie and the Chamber for pulling this event together. It is a pleasure for me to be here. My name is Brian Cassidy, and I'm running to be your next Jefferson County Assessor. A brief background on myself. Like many of you in small business, I too grew up in a family that owned a small business. My dad owned a grocery store, and that was really my first job. It was a tough business to be in, but I learned a lot about it. Excuse me. After high school, well, as working for my dad, I would quickly learn that I became a master at sweeping the floor. After high school, I joined the Navy, where I served for 10 years. Most of that was in the submarine force. Thank you, sir. Fellow Navy man there. That too. In October 1988, almost exactly 30 years ago, I received my honorable discharge, and I was very fortunate to have been hired by Lockheed Martin, and that's what brought me here to Jefferson County. I've been here ever since for 30 years. I met my wife here at our church in Lakewood. We've been married for 26 years. We have a daughter who is in her freshman year in high school in Jefferson County Public Schools. After my program at Lockheed Martin came to an end, I would begin what would amount to be a 25-year career in real estate. I'm running for Jefferson County Assessor because I see it as a vitally important role in our county government. I'm going to bring 25 years of that real estate experience to bear. 14 of those years have been in real estate appraisal. 4 of those years have been in an assessor's office, both here in Jefferson County and where I am currently employed in Arapahoe County as a senior appraiser. I am seeking this job because I know how to do it right. If you should disagree with me, that's great. I would encourage you to do that. We're going to listen to you, and we're going to provide you with an outstanding customer service atmosphere. I equate this job in a lot of ways with being a baseball umpire. I did that job as a part-time job for about 20 years. The best days I ever had on a baseball field were when I could walk off the field and understand people didn't even know I was here. Well, that's what I'm going to do with the Jefferson County Assessor's Office. I am seeking your vote, and I'm looking to earn your trust. My name is Brian Cassidy, and I'm running for Jefferson County Assessor. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Scot Kersgaard, also obviously running for Jefferson County Assessor. Great to be here. This is just a great group. I love this organization and this building also. I've been a real estate agent in Jefferson County for about 15 years. I first got my license when I was in college. I've owned commercial real estate in 2 states. I own rental properties here as well. So I'm well aware of, the importance of this office. Good government always starts at the local level, and that's why I'm running. I've owned a newspaper, which I bought when I was quite young, bought it with several other employees. I was not the sole owner, but I've met payroll, I've managed a large staff, hired and fired people, and turned a failing business, frankly. We could only afford it because it was a failing business, and we turned it into a moneymaker from day one. We became the first newspaper in Idaho to standardize on a Mac desktop publishing system in the early 80s. It cost us a fortune, but it also saved us a fortune. I've also worked in consulting here in Jefferson County, working with government agencies, helping them save money, helping them communicate better with their customers, helping them provide great customer interfaces. My platform as assessor is obviously first, fair and accurate assessments. That is the absolute bottom line requirement of the job. If you don't get that right, nothing else matters. After that, transparency. The first duty of government is transparency, to tell you exactly what we're doing with your money, to show you exactly how we're assessing properties, so that you can understand how we arrived at the values we put on your property. It shouldn't be a mystery. Great technology, especially consumer-facing technology, so that you can do most of your business with the office online, and you can learn everything you need to learn about your personal assessment with your smartphone. It shouldn't be rocket science. You shouldn't have to come into the office for things like that. And also great communication. A great website, e-newsletters, a YouTube channel where we walk you through the assessment process and you can learn, again, how we do things. The office has about 60 employees, more than half of whom are real estate appraisers with a combined 394 years of appraisal experience. The top job that I'm running for as assessor is not an appraisal job. It's fine to have that experience, but it's not a requirement. What we need is a leader, a visionary, somebody who can look at the world of assessing and find the very best practices and implement those in Jefferson County, and can look forward 10 years, 15 years to what the best offices will look like then, and start the progress now to become that best office. Thank you.
We have 45 seconds for each candidate to answer the following questions, and we'll begin with Mr. Cassidy. Tell us what you believe customer service and good customer service in the assessor's office looks like.
This is something I'll be drawing on from the lessons my dad taught so long ago. I complained about sweeping the floor all the time. Little did I know at that time, he was teaching me lessons that I would bring forward through a 25-year career in real estate. Good customer service, great customer service starts with listening, and understanding why these people are asking you the questions they're asking. My dad used to say, hey, without great customer service, we wouldn't have any customers at all. Well, of course, this isn't that exact same situation, but the idea behind great customer service starts with listening. And we are going to do that when I am the assessor, and we are going to have a great customer service experience for everyone that comes in.
All right, Mr. Kersgaard, you actually outlined a bit of an innovative approach to customer service a moment ago, talking about an app, talking about YouTube. Talk to me about your customer service approach and how you would integrate all that. Would that be additional staff? Would that be reallocating people?
No. But first off, I want to say the first thing in customer service is, beyond all the web interfaces and the apps, which are great, when you call the office, you should not be passed from one person to another, which currently happens now, where the first person passes the buck, the second person doesn't know what to do either. We need to answer your questions honestly and quickly, get you to the right person immediately. So that's the first thing on customer service. We will also, again, have a better web interface. We'll publish more contact information on the website so you can find the name of the person you need to talk to. There won't be a need for additional staff for this by any sense.
Great.
No.
What do you see as the challenges in assessing commercial properties?
Well, there are a lot of challenges. Obviously, the biggest properties, golf courses, Coors Brewing, things like that, there are not usually any comparable sales in Jefferson County in the last year or two for things like that. So you've got to look around the state, around the country, sometimes even around the world. So that's a very challenging thing. And in an environment where values are going up, people get a little testy, and they are going up. Let's look at the facts. We're Jefferson County, right between Boulder, Denver, DIA, and the Rocky Mountains. Where do you think our values are going to go? They're going up. Rents are up, cap rates are up, vacancy rates are down, and that's a challenge. And if values are going up more than people think they should, then I will be talking personally to the property owners. They won't just get a notice in the mail. And they will also, when they get their notice, they will get comps with it, so they don't have to look for those. Thank you.
Mr. Cassidy, same question to you. What do you see as the challenges assessing commercial properties?
Well, the great news I bring to the business owners of Jefferson County is for 14 years of my real estate appraisal experience, 12 of those years have been in commercial property appraisal. I worked for a company called National Valuation Consultants. They're the largest single privately held appraisal company in the country. That afforded me the opportunity to appraise properties literally from Georgia to Washington State. A lot of those properties, obviously, since they're based here, were right here in Jefferson County and the Denver metro area. I know this market on the commercial property types. I've appraised everything, again, from apartments to warehouses, and a lot of specialized properties as well. That's the experience I will be drawing upon to value commercial properties.
Okay, Mr. Cassidy, we'll stay with you for the final long-form question. We'll talk about the appeals process here. Do you believe any changes should be made in the current appeals process?
I definitely do. The assessor's job is quite heavily regulated by the state and the Division of Property Taxation, which is a state agency. They set up our rules, and we react to those laws and those rules. I'm currently working on a set of appeals in Arapahoe County that were first filed back in September of 2017. That's an inordinate long time. And by the way, you don't get to just not pay those taxes if you've been overvalued in your property and you're going through this long appeal process. I know that there are a number of ways that this appeals process can be shortened. What I'm going to do when I'm the assessor is allow our appraisers to handle those things in the very first initial phases of the appeal.
Okay.
That will shorten it.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Kersgaard, talking about the appeals process, do you believe changes should be made? And if so, provide some specifics.
Oh, absolutely. And I agree with most of what Brian just said. And I've spoken with people in the office who also agree with that. We need to make it faster. Allow people to handle these things much sooner. When they drag on, if people have overpaid, we actually have to pay them back with interest, and that's a pain for the county, et cetera, et cetera. I would encourage more online appeals. Currently, you cannot file an online appeal if you're a commercial property owner, but the technology is there to do that, so we'll do that. And again, if we send comps with your notices of value, we can start generating greater confidence in values to begin with, so it'll be less appeals. But mostly it's just streamlining it, making it easier for people to do this, so that they don't feel the need to hire a tax agent or someone else, because that again gums up the process and takes longer. Thank you.
All right, fire round questions, and we'll begin with you on my right, Mr. Kersgaard.
Okay.
Your favorite place to shop or eat
Well,
in
that is easy, Yak and Yetis.
Okay. The last book that you read?
The Assessor's Reference Library, Volume 1, which is kind of misnamed. Everybody calls it Volume 1, but it says Volume 2, so whatever.
I had that same concern. What is the most common topic that comes up when you are out campaigning?
That's easy too, property values and why they're so high.
If you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would that be?
Bill Gates.
And what was your first job?
After school, riding my bike 10 miles to a farm where I collected 15,000 eggs from angry hens.
Uphill both ways, I'm sure.
No.
Mr. Cassidy, your favorite place to shop or eat in Arvada?
Rhinelander Bakery.
Okay. The last book that you read?
Samuel Adams' biography.
The most common topic that comes up when you are out campaigning?
Vote for Cassidy.
If you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would that be?
My dad.
Yeah. Your first job? I think we went over this.
Working for Dad.
Yeah.
Restocking those shelves and sweeping that floor.
You bet. You had the opportunity to provide the initial opening, so I'm going to allow Mr. Kersgaard to close. You have 90 seconds, sir.
Okay. The reason I'm running for this office is I felt a change was needed in the assessor's office. I was 11 years old the last time Jefferson County elected a Democrat county assessor. And while we might have problems if the office had been in Democrat hands for 40 years also, but we need a change in that office. And we need an office that is committed to excellence, committed to best practices, that looks outside the box, that studies what are the best assessor offices and how do they become the best. And that's what I will do. It'll be a constant forward-looking operation where we find ways to better serve the public, better value properties, and just become the best office we can be. And to me, that's a very exciting proposition. You can go on my website, kersgaardforjeffco.com. I've got lots of endorsements, including Ed Perlmutter's and the West Metro Firefighters Association, Local 1309, many legislators, city council people, mayors, etc. You can read my platform online, look me up, and vote for me. Thank you.
And Mr. Cassidy, 90 seconds.
Well, thank you again to the Chamber for hosting this event. It's been a pleasure to be here. As I've said, I'm going to draw on 25 years of real estate experience. I've been a developer, project manager, leasing agent, sales agent, but obviously the biggest bulk of my experience has been in property appraisal. I understand what's going on with business values here today. My dad, God bless him, he didn't need that kind of aggravation to have. I understand you people are running a business. That's what you want to focus on. We're going to get rid of that overbearing and overvalued approach, okay? We are going to strive for accuracy, and accuracy is one of the straight A's that I want to earn from everybody in this county. Accuracy because I can draw on 14 years of property appraisal experience. Accuracy because an atmosphere of customer service, because I will be drawing on those lessons I learned from my dad so long ago, and I've used them throughout my career. Service, service, service. That's what we're here for. That's what this government, any level of government, is supposed to be about. No different than when I was in the Navy so long ago. It was about service. I volunteered to do this, to run for this job, because I believe in what's going on here, and I will bring accuracy to valuations. Thanks very much.
Our candidates for assessor. We want to thank Mr. Kersgaard and Mr. Cassidy. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Next up, we will discuss topics with our candidates for Jefferson County Treasurer. Opening remarks for Jerry DiTullio and Frank Tunnison. And Mr. DiTullio will lead us off with 3 minutes of opening remarks.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jerry DiTullio. I'm the Democratic candidate for Jefferson County Treasurer. I'm currently the elected city treasurer for the city of Wheat Ridge, and I'm also a teacher at Wheat Ridge High School in special education, English, and social studies. So what does the county treasurer do? The county treasurer collects, manages, and invests taxpayer money. The county treasurer does not protect private property rights, raise or lower your taxes, or limit government. That's the job of the voters and the businesses and the county commissioners. There's 2 elected treasurers in Jefferson County, the city of Wheat Ridge and Jefferson County. So if I am elected in November, I can hit the ground running for the taxpayers of Jefferson County and bring that transparency that I brought to the city of Wheat Ridge on reporting and transparency on financials. And I bring this up today because Monday, the current Jefferson County treasurer, who is term limited, resigned. And his last day is November 1st. So we're gonna need a person to walk into this office who understands the job, understands how to manage and work with city, or county staff actually, and to bring that experience forward to work with those staff people to make sure that we're having a good customer service transition. The problem is with the current treasurer leaving November 1st, there is no transition from the old treasurer to the new treasurer. It's gonna be, we got to hit the ground running. So my background and experience in public office, I've been the mayor of Wheat Ridge for 23 years. I've been involved in city politics. I was the ex-mayor of city of Wheat Ridge, ex-city council, and now I'm a current city treasurer. So if you have any more questions for me, I'll be out in the lobby today after our meeting. Please give me a call, 720-253-6785. I'm looking forward to having your vote in November. And remember, it's Jerry DiTullio for Jefferson County Treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DiTullio and Mr. Tennyson. You'll have 3 minutes.
Excellent. Well, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? Great. Kemi, thank you for inviting me to this event. Thank you to the Arvada Chamber for hosting this event. I want to thank all of you for coming out and giving me an opportunity to introduce myself and my campaign. And I also want to say thank you to the folks watching on TV. Thank you for being engaged during this election cycle. You can probably tell that I have a little bit of an accent. I was actually born in Berlin, Germany. I didn't speak English until I was 12 years old. My dad, who was in the Army, got transferred stateside, and he moved us over here to the Morrison area. And when he adopted me, I chose to become an American citizen, and I've been a patriot ever since. Now, growing up in the Morrison area, I used to ride my bike all and up and down the Hogback, which is now Rooney Valley. How many of you know Rooney Valley, right? And I always say we have the world's biggest playground in our backyard. Now, as I mentioned, my dad was in the Army. Do we have any veterans in the audience? Excellent. Thank you for your service. And the reason why I bring that up is I went to school at Bear Creek High School, and all through high school, my best friend and I always talked about joining the Air Force after we graduate. So about 2 months after graduation, Mike calls me up and says, Frank, guess what I did? I joined the Navy Reserves, right? So I had a few choicy words for him, but being a man of my word, I was at the recruiter's office the next day, and I also joined the Navy Reserves. And I've had a chance to travel throughout the world, and I always say we live in the greatest country. Now, there's 2 reasons why I'm running for this position. The first one is that I truly care about my community, and I believe that I can have the greatest impact serving at a local level. The second reason why I'm running is because I've had many people like you say, Frank, we need you to be our next Jefferson County treasurer, because they know of my 30 years of banking, finance, and investment experience. I know that the #1 responsibility of the treasurer is to protect the taxpayers' money. And when I'm elected, I'm going to focus on 2 things. The first one is I'm going to focus on safeguarding the taxpayers' money. I'm going to make sure I use my experience to properly manage, invest, and disperse your money. The second thing I'm going to focus on is promoting transparency. You as taxpayers have every right to know how your money is being spent and invested. My name is Frank Tunison, and I'm running to be your next Jefferson County treasurer. Thank you.
All right, we'll begin our 45-second response questions with Mr. DiTullio. What is the most pertinent experience you have that has prepared you for the job of Jefferson County Treasurer? I think you touched on that a moment ago, but take us inside that office and maybe how it compares to the job that you're running for now.
So I've been with the city of Wheat Ridge for 23 years as a public official, working with the public, taxpayers. The current city treasurer for the city of Wheat Ridge does the same exact job as the county treasurer. We collect funds, manage funds, and invest funds for the city of Wheat Ridge. Right now, in 2018, our city manager had projected we would earn about $51,000 in investment income for interest. That money can be used for other projects in the city. At this time, we've increased that to $165,000 as of August. So we have a 317% return on our taxpayer money, which is your money being invested for future projects. So I think my experience in investing with Public Deposit Protection Act groups, investment companies, is where we have to be.
Great. Mr. Tennyson, the same question to you. Most pertinent experience that you have that prepares you to be the Jefferson County Treasurer.
Great, thank you. Well, the county treasurer is basically the county banker, and that's what I've done my entire professional career. My customers have come to trust me with their financial needs and their investment needs. Whether they come to me because they need to buy a car, or maybe they're planning on purchasing their first house or starting a business. Maybe they need to invest for their children's education or plan for their retirement. I've helped many of my customers achieve financial success, and it's that kind of experience that we deserve and need at the county treasurer's office.
Okay, we will stay with you for the second question. What latitude is the treasurer given to invest county funds, and what's your philosophy on that?
Great. You know, there are many different investment strategies and philosophies out there. And as your county treasurer, I'm limited by state statute of how and where I can invest your money. I will use my investment experience to make sure that we get the best return possible as allowed by state statute. And I will guide those investments to make sure that they're always safe and they're readily available. I'm also going to focus on investing into the staff of the Treasury's office to make sure that that they feel valued and that they provide the best customer service that we demand from our public offices.
Thank you, Mr. Tennyson. Mr. DiTullio, same question. What latitude is the treasurer given, and what is your philosophy on this?
So the latitude that I have as the city treasurer is the same as the county treasurer. Right now, the county has approximately $329 million invested in different Public Deposit Protection Act entities, and that's where we have to keep our funds. I was also a banker in a previous life, and I understand banking investments, but with taxpayer money, we have to follow the Colorado Revised Statutes, Title 39, and also Title 24, which limits our ability to invest. We can't invest in, obviously, foreign markets, the stock market. So as your treasurer, we will find the best return on your money in the facilities and financial areas where they're Public Deposit Protection Act insured, like C-Safe or Colorado Trust. So that's where we're using most of our money right now in the city of Wheat Ridge.
Great, we'll keep it with you, Mr. DiTullio. What could the treasurer do to support increased education and transparency around county funds?
Well, one of the things that I've heard as treasurer is that they will say, I will, or any other person running for an office, I will. What I can say is that I have brought transparency to the City of Wheat Ridge Treasurer's Office. All of our financials are on the city website now. I plan on doing that to the county, where you could actually go online and see monthly reports on where your money's being spent and how it's being spent and how it's allocated by the county commissioners. Transparency is number one. Taxpayers want to know how their money's being spent and where it's going. And we have to improve that communication with the public and the treasurer's office and the public and the elected officials and the departments at the county, so that everybody is talking about the finances, where that money is going to go, and how it's being spent.
Great, thank you, Mr. DiTullio. Mr. Tennyson, same question. What could the treasurer do to support increased education and transparency around those county funds?
No, that's great. I appreciate that. And that is the most important part about the Treasury's office. But with my 30 years of banking experience, I'm probably more transparent than most. We all get our monthly bank statement that shows how our money is being invested and how our money is being dispersed, and I will use that same experience at the Treasury's office to make sure that the citizens know how their money is being invested and spent. I'd actually like to form a citizens committee that works on educating the citizens to let them know how their money is being invested, to make sure that that information is readily available on the website, and more importantly, that it's easy to be accessed.
Great.
Thank you.
fire round questions, and we'll leave it here.
Okay?
Your favorite place to shop or eat in Arvada?
Mannequin Frites.
Okay. Last book that you read? These are getting more interesting by the candidate.
I love food, by the way.
Good.
So, Resilience by a former Navy SEAL.
Oh, great, yeah. What is the most common topic that comes up when you are out campaigning?
Can you lower my taxes?
And your answer is?
No.
That's a quick conversation. If you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would that be?
My wife, Victoria. She overcame and is a survivor of stage 4 colon cancer.
Great, great. Glad she is. Your first job?
I used to deliver the Denver Post after school.
Yeah. Remember those days?
Yes. Riding the bike down the street.
In TV news, we used to tell people that people would throw yesterday's news into your bushes this morning. You know, it was a friendly competition. All right, Mr. DiTullio, your favorite place to shop or eat in Arvada?
The Texas Roadhouse.
Okay. Last book that you read?
With my class, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah, remember that. The most common topic that comes up when you're out campaigning?
Why are my property taxes so high, locally, residents, and business owners?
Sure. If you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would that person be?
King Henry VIII. I don't know why.
We'll discuss that offline. Okay. And your first job?
I was a dishwasher at Cugino's restaurant on 38th Avenue in Wheat Ridge.
You bet. The DMO, the dish machine operator. I was there with you, man. All right, 90 seconds for your closing remarks, and Mr. DiTullio had the privilege of going first on those, so we'll turn it over to Mr. Tunis.
Excellent. Well, again, Cami, thanks for hosting the event. Thanks for the Arvada Chamber for giving me the opportunity to address you this morning. My name is Frank Tunis, and I want to be your next Jefferson County Treasurer. I'm the most qualified candidate in this race. I'm going to use my leadership experience to make sure to train the staff so that we provide the best customer service available. I will use my experience to make sure to safeguard the taxpayers' money so that it's always safe and readily available. And I'm going to make sure to promote transparency so that citizens of Jefferson County know how your money is being invested and managed. Now, my customers have come to trust me over the years, and I know you can trust me with your money as well. My name is Frank Tunis, and I'm running to be your next Jefferson County Treasurer. You can learn more about my campaign by going to frankforjeffco.com. That's Frank, F-O-R, Jeffco.com. Or as my 14-year-old son always reminds me, all you have to remember is FT for FT. Frank Tunison for Treasurer. Pretty easy, right? Excellent. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. And I ask for your vote.
Mr. DiTullio, you have 90 seconds for your closing remarks.
Thank you. I just wanted to let folks know that we have been endorsed by Congressman Ed Perlmutter, the West Metro Firefighters, Local 1309, and also Support Jeffco Kids. And what I wanted to do was read an endorsement from a city council member in Wheat Ridge. Local government budgets are complex. Jerry has been instrumental in bringing transparency and improved financial reporting to our constituents and the entire city council. Because of Jerry, we have a clear understanding of how the city's funds are managed and invested. Jerry is the most qualified candidate for county treasurer. Leah Dozman, Wheat Ridge City Council, District 4. I've had the trust of constituents for 23 years in Jeffco in the city of Wheat Ridge, and I'm going to pass that trust on as the county treasurer. So I hope I can get your support in November. Thank you very much.
Mr. DiTullio, Mr. Tennyson, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. We were talking about civil discourse. I love when it ends with a handshake, you know, mutual respect for one another. We're getting there, people. We're getting there. Clerk and Recorder is up next. Opening remarks, 3 minutes each for Faye Griffin and George Stern. Ms. Griffin has the honor of leading off from the podium with a 3-minute opening remark.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Faye Griffin. You would think that after a few years you'd be really, really used to coming up here and talking to people and having a speech and having things ready. This scares me to death, I tell you. Anyway, I cannot think about talking to a group of people so much as being able just to talk to you, friends, people that I've worked with a number of years, county people. It's just great. Anyway, I will start my speech with the usual thing. Again, I'm Faye Griffin. I am your clerk and recorder right now. I have been your treasurer, I have been your commissioner, and I've been your clerk and recorder before too. How come it is I keep hanging around? It's because I love the job. I love the job, I love the county, I love the citizens that I work with. I think it's very important that we do have customer service, good customer service. You can't go anywhere else to get your driver's or your information on motor vehicle and driver's license but here. But we are going to be expanding to have you get your driver's license in our motor vehicle offices as soon as we find a building that's big enough that we can do that. We're having problem finding places now. When the economy was down, we were saying we need a building, we need a building, we can buy one now. We didn't get that done. Now the economy is back, great, but it's difficult to find property that we need. So in our plans, we do have coming forward is that you will get your driver's license at motor vehicle offices. The legislature is trying to pass that we have to, but we're preparing to do it anyway. The other thing is that we have a brand new motor vehicle system. It was started in August. It was the legislature about 4 years ago gave the Department of Revenue $93 million to upgrade the driver's license and the motor vehicle offices. We asked, as county clerks, asked the Department of Revenue, please don't start that in August of 2018. This is when we're deep in our election stuff. But they did it anyway. So we now have a new motor vehicle system that we have a few bumpy roads to get cleared up. It'll get there, we'll get there because we have great staff, great information, and we're gonna do a really great job for our citizens. It's funny when I listen to some of our speeches, mine are never the same, so nobody can really copy them because the fact that when I get up here, I just get up here to talk to you. Please, I'd appreciate your support and your vote for me in November. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Stern.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you for hosting to the Arvada Chamber, and thank all of you for sitting through all of our candidate speeches. There's only one more group after us. For those of you I don't yet know, my name is George Stern. I'm an attorney and a business consultant here in Jeffco. I'm also a volunteer firefighter here in Jeffco, serve down in Golden. And my family and I feel so lucky to call Jefferson County home. 4 generations of us live in the area. I couldn't be more excited to be running to serve this community we love as clerk and recorder. I'm running for clerk because I think local government has never been more important than it is today, given the gridlock and the partisanship we see at higher levels of government. And the clerk's office is the perfect place to make sure local government's working for everyone because it oversees areas that impact everyone, including all of our DMV offices and all of our elections. And given how public-facing this office is, I think it's critical that we be working constantly to improve that customer service, that we be working to innovate, we be working to modernize so that we are better serving the people of Jefferson County every day. Here's what that means. An innovative and modern clerk and recorder's office means a 21st century DMV. It means using this new technology we're talking about so that you're not coming into our offices to wait in line anymore, but you are doing everything you need, almost everything you need to be doing from a 24-hour kiosk at grocery stores, or better yet, from your smartphone or your computer while sitting on your couch at home on a weekend. I'm proud of my experience working with businesses as a consultant. I've worked with small and large companies. I worked at a company called McKinsey, a global consulting firm where we helped those businesses improve their strategies, their customer service, their operations. I'm excited to bring that experience to the DMV to make sure that local government's working better for everyone. Innovative and modern in the clerk's office also means updating our election security for 21st century threats, like Russian interference. It also means doing more to make voting even easier for the people of Jefferson County and Colorado. Before using my law experience to work with businesses, I served in the public sector. I served as an attorney in state and federal government, and worked on election protection issues and voting rights issues alongside tech security experts, alongside people trying to make voting more accessible. I'm excited to bring that experience as well to the clerk's office to make sure that our elections remain secure from foreign interference while also remaining accessible to all eligible voters. George Stern, running for Clerk and Recorder, excited to talk about more of these issues with you right now. I'm asking for your support. Thank you so much.
All right, Ms. Griffin, we're going to lead off. 45 seconds to answer each question. The first question, describe what good customer service looks like in the Clerk and Recorder's office.
The main thing regarding good customer service is to have knowledgeable employees, ones that go through training, go through understanding what's going on. Colorado has the most complicated kinds of things in motor vehicle. We are upgraded with information all the time in elections, motor vehicle, clerk to the board, and also recording. I have four departments that we have the employees that need to make sure that they're knowledgeable, and I am always in awe when I sit there, when I take a number in motor vehicle and I listen to my staff saying the same thing over and over and in a pleasant, friendly voice. And I'm very, very proud of them in all of the departments.
Thank you very much. All right, same question to you, Mr. Stern. What does good customer service look like in the Clerk and Recorder's office?
I think it's absolutely right that we need to be leaning on the excellent employees who are already there to make sure that, as I discussed in my opening, we are better delivering for the folks at Jeffco. So that means that great customer service means you're never needing to come in when you don't need to come in. You're never needing to wait in line when there's no need to wait in line. You're able to do these things from your home. This is the 21st century. You should be able to do almost all of it from your smartphone. This technology already exists. This is just about promoting to our customers, to the people of Jefferson County, that they're able to do it. It's about pushing for more kiosks so that we have them around the county, and then making sure folks know about it. When we work with businesses, what we say, customer experience is a big new issue. And what we say is your customer's perception is your customer experience reality. It doesn't matter if folks think that if we know we have a good experience, we need to make the customers know that they have a good experience.
Okay, so let's stay here. What implications does the change to unaffiliated voters being able to vote in the primary have on the ongoing demands of the Clerk and Recorder's office?
Thank you. Yeah, so this change in June that unaffiliated voters were able to vote obviously brought a huge change in number of ballots needing to be issued and processed. But what I think was the most important thing, again, from this customer experience perspective, is making sure people knew about the change and were well educated on it. And so as we were running, we were getting a ton of questions about what it meant, and especially from unaffiliated voters. So we took it upon ourselves to do everything we could to educate folks. I wrote an op-ed for the Denver Post that was published, still available on the Denver Post website and on our website, explaining the changes. We put up a special webpage about the changes. We had a 24-hour voter hotline that folks could call if they had questions in the 3 weeks leading up to it. And we pushed all of this information out over social media as well, making sure we were doing everything we could with this change to educate the voters. I think that's such an important part of any change like this.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stern. Ms. Griffin, the same question to you. What implications does the change to unaffiliated voters and their ability to vote in a primary have to the demands in your office?
We definitely had all that information on our web pages. Also, the Secretary of State spent a ton of money on trying to get that information out. You'd see it on the buses, you'd see it all over. We did send out cards to people saying that you now, as an unaffiliated voter, can vote. However, people forget to understand that any unaffiliated voter from day one could have come into our office, changed their affiliation for a day, changed it back to unaffiliated. So when they say this is the first time that they were able to vote, that's really not true. They have always been able to vote. And we did have a lot of people that said that their preference was one or the other. We had a good turnout, and it was great. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll stay with you for the final long-form question. What recommendations do you have to improve voter security and decrease incidents of potential voter fraud.
Okay, thank you. If anyone is aware, our Secretary of State has won an award regarding the very safest state in the whole United States regarding our ballots. We also, I talked with our IT person, and we are constantly having people trying to hack into the mainframe at our county, daily, hourly, minute by second they're trying to get in. In our election department, all of our stuff is standing alone without being connected to our mainframe. We have a room that is only certain people can get into that room. We had a discussion not long ago with my IT person, who is also a director of the elections.
Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, we're going to talk about improving voter security with you. Let's talk about it, Mr. Stern. What recommendations do you have to improve voter security and decrease incidents of any potential voter fraud?
Thank you for raising this, because this is in the news more than any other election issue, and I think it's so critical we're talking about it. We have brand new threats to our election system, and we have been doing a great job in the past of securing them, but we need to be doing so much more to stay ahead of bad actors, because they're trying to stay ahead of us every day. And I think the number one thing in the short time we have to talk about is training. We need to make sure that from our employees down to our election judges, all of whom have access to some form of our databases, that we are training them on what it means, what phishing emails look like so that folks can hack into the system, what bad actors use to try and get into our systems, so that we're not falling for those traps, we're not letting bad actors in, and we're keeping our elections here safe. These are trainings that I worked on with tech security experts while working on election protection issues as an attorney. And I'm really excited to bring that experience here so that no matter what the Secretary of State's doing, we are protecting our elections here.
All right, George, we're going to do the fire round with you
Okay.
first. Your favorite place to shop or eat in Arvada?
A lot of the ones that have been already said, so I'm going to go with a new one of La Dolce Vita.
All right. What was the last book that you read?
Educated, a memoir by Tara Westover, I think.
Okay. What is the most common topic that comes up when you go out campaigning?
What is a clerk?
I would ask for what your answer is to that, but we're limited on
too
time.
long, if you've got 5 minutes.
Yes, you have 4 departments, it's a big operation. If you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would that be?
John Elway, because besides last night, I've got some advice for him.
Last night was a
That
pretty
was
mediocre
great.
college team on the other side. What was your first job?
My brothers and I had a thriving snow shoveling business.
Yes, I see you went to law school, put that shovel down. Huh?
That's right, for now.
Thank you. We'll go through some fire round questions now with you, Ms. Griffin. Let's go with favorite place to shop or eat.
Texas Roadhouse.
Okay. What was the last book that you read?
I am reading one called Trace by Patricia Cornwell, and I love James Patterson is really my most favorite ones, but all his books they're all about the same kind of names, so I've got them marked down. Otherwise, I go buy the same book again.
Okay. What is the most common topic that comes up when you are out campaigning?
A lot is in regard to the safety of elections, and I also want to make sure that you understand that we are on top of all of this daily, hourly.
If you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would that be?
Mama and Daddy.
You bet. What was your first job?
Babysitting.
Yeah, good one. My daughter's doing it right now for Cammie. Thank you very much. Okay, closing remarks. We opened with you. Let's go to Mr. Stern and get 90 seconds of closing remarks.
Thank you so much. Thank you again to the Chamber for hosting today. 18 days until the election. You've heard from a lot of candidates. Some of us are excited that there's 18 days until these elections are up. We've got important choices in these races. Thank you for giving us a forum to talk about these issues. I'm asking for your support. As I've mentioned, I think local government, all of these local positions we're hearing from today, is more important than ever. And I think it's really critical that we be focused on these local races and we be focused on how we can be doing the best possible job in these local offices. I'm proud of a lot of the support I've received as we've been on this campaign. I've got the support of Joan Fitzgerald, who's a former clerk and recorder here in Jefferson County. Proud to have the support of Congressman Ed Perlmutter and many other elected officials and leaders in Jefferson County. George Stern, running for Clerk and Recorder, asking for your support. Thank you so much.
I too want to thank the Chamber, Tammy. This is nerve-wracking. However, I do want to tell you or ask you or beg you, whatever, I do love my job. Excuse me, I do a good job. Experience, experience, experience. We're going to be looking at another election. No one knows any of the totals, but I do have such a great staff. I have total, complete, they're just great. I don't ever know. I was asked the other day if somebody could peek at what the totals are. No one can ever check to see how the totals are going. We start counting those ballots next week. If you have not received your ballot, you still should be getting it this week. I have not received mine, excuse me, and so I don't understand that. I thought for sure I'd have it yesterday, but they were delivered to the post office and they are out there, and please make sure you fill out the whole ballot. Send both those pages back into me, because if you call me and say, I left one of mine out, I can't do anything about it. I want to tell you again, it is such a good feeling to know that the surrounding other elected officials in Jefferson County are great. We have a great county, we have great city government, and I'm proud of all of you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Griffin and Mr. Stern. Our candidates for Clerk and Recorder. Pleasure. Oh, we've moved on from handshakes. We're now on to the race for commissioner. Our opening remarks, 3 minutes each, from Leslie Dahlkemper and Tina Francone. Handshake and hug. I'm telling you, we're getting places. We're going to start offering each other rides places. I like this. Ms. Dahlkemper, please, yes.
Well, good morning, Arvada Chamber. How are you today? Great. Wonderful. It's good to be here. Thank you so much for hosting today's forum. Thank you for being here. Thanks to those of you who are joining us from your office or from home. I'm Leslie Dahlkemper. I'm running to serve as your next county commissioner here in Jefferson County. County commissioner is a big job. And one of the most common questions I get is, what exactly does a county commissioner do? And as you know, county commissioners oversee a $500 million with a B dollar budget. And that budget reflects the aspects of our quality of life that are so important to us as a community, from open space to housing and transportation to mental health services to roads and bridges and more. I'm running for county commissioner because I want to improve lives and build opportunity in Jefferson County. Our family has called Jeffco home for 24 years. We think it's a great place to raise a family, to start a business, or to retire. So far, we're 2 for 3 on that list, with retirement a little bit further down the road. I also believe very strongly that one of the key roles of the county commissioner is working closely with our chambers, our business leaders, and others to attract good paying jobs to Jefferson County, and also to make sure that we're workforce ready in Jeffco. Some of the most innovative businesses in the country call Jefferson County home. We're a leader in aerospace and aviation, in health and science and other areas. In fact, just earlier this week, I was able to take a tour of Lockheed Martin with other candidates and elected officials. And it's extraordinary when you step back and you think about just the impact Lockheed Martin, in addition to other innovative companies in Jeffco, are having on our economy. 7,300 space employees are headquartered in South Jeffco, and they're having a huge impact on our economy, innovation, technology, and more. Workforce readiness, we know, having attended past chamber meetings, is also a critical issue. Arvada Works, which is just one of 50 programs around the country, is really looking at how do we build the talent pipeline, because businesses in our STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math, shouldn't have to hire outside of Colorado to fill those positions. And we also know we've got areas like construction and trade that are really looking at shortages, and these provide incredible pathways for our students. You may know that I'm the former president of the Jeffco School Board, so we want to make sure our kids are successful. I have had 30 years of experience as a business owner, as a former reporter for Colorado Public Radio, and also as a nonprofit executive. I can't wait to bring that experience to work for Jefferson County. I have a 15-year-old who attends Lakewood High School. I interviewed a state senator when I first started as a reporter. The interview went very well. We've been married 20 years, more than 20 years. And I thank you and I ask you for your support.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Tina Francone. I am your Jefferson County Commissioner. And thank you, Cammie and Arvada Chamber, for hosting this morning, and thank you all for being here. It's very early in the morning, and you're very patient, and I appreciate you being here. But I know you're here because you're concerned about our community. And you recognize that Jeffco's great, and you need to know who's going to help you keep it great. I appreciate you all being here because I know that you're the get-it-done people. And you know that we don't get there in keeping Jeffco great by expressing vague dreams about great things to happen in Jeffco, because we're the get-it-done people, right? And as your county commissioner, I'm not here to keep a chair warm. I'm here to work for you. I've been all over this county. I've knocked hundreds of doors. I've made thousands of phone calls, and I hear what you say to me. Part of what you say is, Tina, eliminate red tape and regulation at the county level. And as your commissioner, we've begun an audit of the building and planning and zoning codes to streamline the permitting process. We've begun a review of the permitting fees, and you'll have more ability in the coming days to do those things online. You tell me, finish the Jefferson Parkway. I'll let you know that we got a head of steam on that, and we're looking in January of 19 at the possible selection of a design team for that. You tell me, fix the damn roads. And you'll be happy to know that in the 2019 budget, that'll be part of the priority. I hear you when you say education is important. As county commissioner, I don't have a lot of control over that, but is it important? You bet. I've worked hard to help create a job pipeline between businesses and our centers of education. It's time to stop talking about it and just do it. We need skilled workers in all areas, especially the trades. We're changing that stereotype that these are somehow meaningless, inconsequential jobs. I'll tell you, they're not inconsequential or meaningless when your car stops working or when your basement floods. I'm the only candidate who advocates for all forms of public education, including public charter schools and vocational schools. You tell me, take care of our seniors. Jeffco has the largest senior population in the state, and the silver tsunami is here. We're looking at innovative, cutting-edge technologies and partnering with our businesses and our nonprofits in order to advance free market solutions to those problems. As your county commissioner these last 8 months, I've maintained an open door policy and worked hard to be your partner in Jefferson County. I trust your good judgment about what's right for you, your families, and your businesses. I'd be honored and I'd be privileged to serve for another 4 years as your county commissioner. I'm Tina Francone. Thank you.
45 seconds for each of these questions, ladies, and we'll begin with Ms. Dahlkemper. How will you address managed growth, keyword there, right, in Jefferson County?
Right. Well, many of us moved to Jefferson County because we love what Jeffco offers. Sweeping Rocky Mountain views, incredibly nationally recognized libraries and public schools, arts and culture, we're here at the Arvada Center, and vibrant historic downtowns like Old Town Arvada. As people and businesses move to Jefferson County, we need to work collaboratively with our municipalities to ensure that we're being thoughtful and purposeful about growth and development in a way that continues to enhance our quality of life in Jeffco. We have to be very mindful of property rights and address those, and we also have to make sure that we communicate clearly about our decisions about growth and development. Commissioner hearings on these issues should be impartial, they should be fair, and they should involve a lot of citizen input.
Okay. Ms. Francone, how are you going to address the ongoing managed growth in Jefferson County?
Well, thank you for that question. In 8 years, when we look back, we'll see a Jefferson County that's advanced its already robust comprehensive master plan. We won't see that family sitting in traffic. We've taken care of their transportation needs. We've helped them enjoy more time doing what they love and having more money in their wallets because we've created more opportunities for them, like the elimination of the business personal property tax and creating an educated, skilled workforce.
Okay. The second question has to do with the county budget, which we have established is nearly $500 million. Do you believe that there need to be any changes made to the way that the current county budget is allocated?
Get to my notes here.
No problem at all, please.
Sorry. Well, you really can't talk about the budget without talking about the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. The Taxpayer Bill of Rights is the budget that the taxpayers give to county governments and what they can spend. Our budget reflects that by respecting the citizens' priorities. And as your county commissioner, I'll continue to protect and defend the Taxpayer Bill of Rights to balance the budget and be a good steward of your hard-earned taxpayer dollars.
Okay. Let's talk about this with you, Ms. Dahlkemper. Do you believe there need to be any changes in the way that the county budget is allocated?
Well, this question about the county's budget is an especially timely question because the county commissioners got their first look of the 2019 budget on Tuesday at the Board of County Commissioners meeting. And one of the cautions that the Board of County Commissioners heard from the budget staff is that Tabor is placing restrictions on the budget and additional strain on the budget. Now, I want to be really clear. We need to be transparent, we need to be accountable, and we need to find every efficiency that we possibly can in the county budget. I'll also share with you that last year the county saw $37 million in surplus money. Now, that's above and beyond the Tabor cap. Those dollars have to be refunded to taxpayers. And some of you in the audience may be saying, hey, that's great. When's my check coming? Others may be saying, could we reinvest that in infrastructure, mental health, and public safety?
Okay. And we will stay with you for the final question, though, but thank you. I appreciate the
Yes,
help.
I'm here for you.
Recently, the Jefferson County Commissioners eliminated the county's portion of the business personal property tax. Was that a good decision? Why?
Yes, the business personal property tax is an unpopular tax. There is no question about that
Are there
whatsoever.
any popular taxes?
I don't know that there are, but those tax revenues do invest back into our community and they do affect our quality of life. Sure. So that's a critical point I would just like to share. That eliminated $7 million in costs for businesses, and that's a positive thing. But here's what I would have done differently as your county commissioner. I would have worked with my colleagues on the board and the budget staff to determine how we would make up that difference. If there's waste in county government, let's cut it. If there are ineffective programs or services, let's cut those. Instead, county commissioners are dipping into the rainy day fund or the reserves to help make up that difference. Those of us who've been in business know that dipping into our savings account is simply not sustainable.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dahlkemper. Ms. Francone, same question to you. You were on the board. Did you agree with the decision and why?
Well, I voted for it. The business personal property tax, the elimination of that unfair job-killing tax, really does increase the quality of life for everyone, not just our business owners. It affects you as well as the consumer of those products. It does empower our businesses to have control of their own destiny, and it results in a lower cost to our consumers. And that's just an example of a need that was expressed. And so I want you to know that when you come to me with a problem, we'll find a solution for you. I'm here to work for you and to be your partner in Jefferson County government.
Okay. Fire round, we'll leave it with you to answer these 5 right off the bat. Your favorite place to shop or eat in Arvada. Texas Roadhouse has been taken.
No, I know. Schoolhouse Kitchen, thank you, Director Anderson, for that. Favorite place to shop, 5280 Armory.
Okay. Last book that you read?
The 2018 budget.
Oh,
It's a
you
book.
made it all the way through, right?
It's more than once.
What is the most common topic that comes up when you go out campaigning?
You're the Republican?
I'll let that one marinate for a second.
Think about that one.
If you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would that be?
Teofilo Castañeda Espanto, my father.
Great. And what was your first job?
I was the drive-through attendant at the Driftwood Dairy.
Uh-huh. Did you always put the fries in the bag?
No, that was a dairy, so we did milk and bread
Okay,
and cigarettes.
Drive-throughs, it's always touch and go. All right. 5 questions for you, and we'll begin with your favorite place to shop or eat in Arvada, Ms. Dawkins.
Well, Rhinelander was already taken by Brian. I like Rhinelander a little too much, but I also like Taffin-Doe and Penzies.
Great. Last book that you read?
The last book that I read was Dreamland, which is about the opioid epidemic in America and how it came to be.
Most common topic that comes up when you go out at campaigning?
How do we ensure that we don't price out of our community first responders, beginning teachers, aging adults, and others due to the escalating housing costs we're facing as a community?
Coffee? Someone dead or alive? Who would you choose?
I'm going to counter Sheriff Schrader's mention of Jefferson with Alexander Hamilton, and it's not just because he has a cool musical.
That my 12-year-old has memorized. Yes. And what was your first job?
My first job was bussing tables at a place called Bonanza Steakhouse in the south suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah, did the waiters and waitresses tip you out well?
Well, no, actually, we really didn't get tips.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Rough. Okay.
Rough.
Final remarks. We're going to hand it over to Ms. Francone for 90 seconds of closing remarks.
Well, thank you all. And, you've heard from two of the best and the brightest women in Jefferson County. And I think you've seen that, yes. And I think you've seen that there's a clear choice. There's a clear difference between us. And here it is in a nutshell. I think you're entitled to a county commissioner who's your partner in county government, someone that represents you and your interests. As your county commissioner, I know it's about doing the right thing for all citizens in Jefferson County. It's about being careful and thoughtful about where your tax dollar goes. It's about being careful and thoughtful about how we grow. It's about respecting your choices and presenting options to you, not choosing them for you. I've been your county commissioner for just 8 months, and I gotta tell you, I love this job. It is my honor and my privilege to represent you every day at the Taj. I'd like to ask you for another 4 years because we got a lot of work to do here, Jeffco. Thank you so much. I'm Tina Francone, your Jefferson County Commissioner.
90 seconds, Ms. Dawkins.
Great, thank you so much. Thanks again for being here this morning. Local elections matter in terms of our quality of life and our vision for Jefferson County. I'm ready to hit the ground running. I have met with almost all of the county elected officials, from the sheriff to the DA to the coroner to the surveyor, to deepen my understanding about issues and opportunities for Jefferson County ahead, and also to learn more about the culture of Jeffco and how we can work together collaboratively, how we can work innovatively, and some of the challenges that we face. In addition, I've also reached out and met with all of the heads of major departments in Jefferson County, from IT and HR to open space and to the budget director, including the county manager and others. Running for county commissioner and also serving as county commissioner requires looking at issues from lots of different perspectives. It requires a lot of deep listening, not only for what's being said, but for what isn't being said, and finding common ground. I think my skill set and my deep roots in Jefferson County have earned me the endorsements of 4 mayors from Golden, Wheat Ridge, Edgewater, and Lakewood, including 2 former Arvada mayors, Ken Fellman and Bob Free. I'm also proud to have the support of RTD board member Lorraine Anderson and former Commissioner Richford Nansen, who's with us today, as well as organizations like the Denver Metro Association of Realtors and the Arvada and West Metro Firefighters Association. Jeffco is an incredible place to live. I would be proud to serve as your next county commissioner, and I'm asking today for your vote. I'm Leslie Dahlkemper. Thank you so much.
Let's give everyone a big hand. Thank you, ladies. We ended with high fives. I like this. Thank you, ladies,
Thank you very
both
much.
so much. It's my pleasure. Really, it is. It has been a great morning, no question about it. We want to thank everyone for joining us, not only watching at home or streaming online, but joining us here and enjoying the breakfast and service provided by our friends here at the Arvada Center. A round of applause for them, if you would. We want to commend all of the candidates for putting themselves out there. Of course, running for office is no small task, and congratulations to all of you on your decision to make a difference in our community.